One of Australia's most loved animals, the koala, is under threat. Its numbers are in decline, and in Victoria, bushfires and logging pose the biggest dangers. But now a recent scientific discovery in Gippsland and a Senate inquiry is offering some hope, as James Bennett reports.
Meet the latest weapon in a long-running environmental battle.
Not only are they a unique genetic pool of koalas, but more importantly, they have as much genetic diversity as any koala population, a population of animals that's really critical for us to conserve.
Environmental groups and loggers have fought over the forests of East Gippsland's Strzelecki Ranges for decades. Last year, they used this footage of an endangered potteroo to stop logging at Gippsland's Brown Mountain. They're hoping these koalas may be the key to a similar challenge in the Strzelecki's.
We're hoping that this will put pressure on the federal government to list this animal under the EPBC Act.
Some evidence before the committee is that the numbers may be below 100,000. So it's a very different level of certainty about the koalas these days. They are certainly nowhere near as numerous as they used to be.
In the late 19th and early 20th century, koalas were hunted to near extinction in Victoria. Approximately 300,000 pelts a year were sent overseas before the United States banned their importation in 1930. A breeding program was set up on French Island in Western Port. Now most of Victoria's wild koalas can be traced back to the small group which was relocated there. Their offspring were later reintroduced to their original habitats.
No one was really sure if the koalas in East Gippsland were remnant koalas. If these were survivors of the fur trade, they might have a unique genetic diversity, they may have more genetic diversity, and they might represent the original Victorian koalas.
A soon-to-be-published study of koala DNA samples collected in the Strzelecki Ranges by PhD candidate Tristan Lee and the University of Sydney has found the koalas are different.
Indicates that we have saved a lot of the genetic material that was present in the Victorian koalas from before the hunting, and it is a treasure that needs to be protected at all costs, absolutely.
The research comes as a Senate inquiry into the health and status of the koala has continued to expand its hearings. Originally slated for one session in Brisbane, it's grown to include Canberra and this week Melbourne as well.
We are for the first time at national parliamentary level getting together as much evidence as there exists about the status of the koala.
Hancock Victorian Plantations is the logging company that harvests timber in the Strzelecki's.
Our native forest has been voluntarily put into permanent protection. We did that a number of years ago in association with the Victorian government. That plantation, that native forest area is permanently protected for the koala.
Much of the conservationists' ire stems from what happened after the 2009 Black Saturday bushfires. Sam the koala, who shot to international fame when a kindly firefighter gave her a drink, was one of many left homeless in the Strzelecki's. Days later, HVP started felling timber at College Creek, an area which was to have been protected under an earlier deal with the Bracks Labor government. A second agreement, negotiated by the Brumby government, gave the company more latitude.
That deal basically overrode anything that we'd negotiated with this company for 10 years, and it meant the destruction of huge areas that had been protected under the heads of agreement.
There's the disparity there.
At Senate hearings in Melbourne this week, Linda Sewell was pressured to explain exactly what happens when the logging teams find koalas in trees destined for felling.
If we have commenced harvesting and then do come across a koala, then we will leave a tree or trees behind. We'll either withdraw from the area and then come back, or we will leave trees behind.
In an earlier interview, the CEO, Linda Sewell, told 7:30 Victoria the company isn't worried about the inquiry because its forestry management is independently scrutinised by the Forest Stewardship Council, or FSC.
Our practices are certified by internationally recognised certification schemes, being FSC and PEFC. And those certification schemes check and review our harvesting practices.
Timber from Hancock plantations goes to Australian Paper's Maryvale pulp mill, which makes reflex paper. Its FSC certification by auditors Smartwood was severely criticised in 2007 by German environmental auditors ASI.
One of the things I ever say is no certification's worth our credibility. Frankly speaking, we've been doing this a long time. We plan on doing it for a long time. We helped found the FSC system. We believe in the system.
Earlier this year, ASI returned to again check up on the quality of Smartwood's audit. The results of that audit and the Senate inquiry aren't due until later this year, but will either make a difference for HVP or the Strzelecki koalas.
We acknowledge that the genetic significance of the koala and the Strzelecki ranges. That's why we have a range of management practices which set out to protect that environment.
The compelling thing is that koalas depend on their habitat. Remove their habitat and you lose them.